The sea breathes under a silver moon. Waves rise and fall like a sleeping giant's heart. Salt mist drifts across an endless horizon. You hear a distant echo, deep and low. It calls through the dark, soft as velvet thunder. This is not just water. It is memory. It is a living library older than mountains. Hidden currents weave stories no book can hold. Tonight, you enter a doorway of sound and tide. Welcome to Poseidon, keeper of the deep. Close your eyes and let the ocean speak. Each wave carries a whisper from forgotten ages. Coral towers glow where no sunlight reaches. Creatures drift in slow spirals like moving stars. They guard the secrets of a realm unseen, and at its heart stands the keeper himself. Poseidon watches with calm, steady eyes. He holds the tides as a shepherd holds a flock. No blade, no fury, only balance and care. He listens when no one else remembers to listen. You are a guest at the edge of eternity. Breathe in the salt. Feel the pull of the deep. Our story begins below the surface, where time moves like water. Follow the current and hear what waits beneath. In the hush before sunrise, the sea glows faintly. Soft waves roll like silk across hidden valleys. You drift closer to a horizon of endless blue. The air smells of salt, clean and sharp as memory. Each breath carries a hint of an ancient name. Below the surface, another world stirs awake. This world is older than your oldest dream. It moves slowly, but it remembers everything. Long before maps, it spread without end. Long before ships, it spoke in tides and foam, and at its center a presence formed from water. Poseidon, the keeper, first heard the ocean sing. He rose not with fury but with listening. He shaped currents as one shapes a gentle path. He whispered life into coral and kelp. He taught whales to navigate by stars. He taught dolphins to speak in bright clicks. Every gesture a promise to guard the deep, every ripple a mark of care and patience. The sea accepted him as a steady heart. It gave him colors of jade, silver, and midnight. It gave him the trident, a key, not a weapon. 3 points to balance current, tide, and depth. He held it lightly, never to strike. He used it to open passageways for lost travelers. He used it to soothe storms before they broke. Through ages, he remained unseen yet present. Sailors felt him in the rhythm of waves. Fishermen sensed him in the rise of shoals. Children on beaches heard his hush in shells. His story passed from mouth to mouth like driftwood. Some called him God, some called him guardian, but he called himself simply keeper of the deep. He walked the sea floor where light turns green. He listened to the hum of hidden springs. He followed migratory trails older than ice. Every path taught him patience beyond time. He learned to read shadows in water. He learned to send messages through currents. A swirl near a reef could warn of danger. A sudden stillness could invite safe passage. He was not a ruler, but a custodian. He carried no crown, only quiet authority. The ocean was not his to own, but to tend. It flowed through him as breath flows through you. Even storms were lessons, not punishments. Lightning traced symbols across dark clouds. Thunder rolled like ancient drums of creation. Poseidon stood at the edge of each surge. He steadied the pulse until harmony returned. Where others saw chaos, he felt design. Where others feared depth, he felt home. His palace was no fortress of war. It was a sanctuary of coral and flowing light. Columns shaped by currents, arches woven from shells. Fish moved through halls like living tapestries. Songs of whales drifted along pearl stairways. Here he rested, here he dreamed, here he listened. No clock marked the hours, only tides. No walls closed the view, only horizon. Visitors arrived in thought more than in body. Those who respected the sea could feel him near. Those who harmed it felt only silence. He welcomed seekers of wonder, not seekers of power. He guided them with symbols in foam and tide. Sometimes a beacon of plankton lit their path, sometimes a sudden calm held their ship steady. All of it done without words, only presence. Poseidon's first era was one of making and mending. He built not monuments, but relationships with waves. He forged not weapons, but currents of trust. This is the beginning of the Keeper's Long Watch. A story of stewardship, not conquest. A story still flowing beneath every wave today. And as you listen, the sea listens back. The Keeper waits for you to remember him. He stands not above you, but around you. You are inside his realm every time you breathe salt air. The ocean speaks, and Poseidon is its voice. Follow the echo deeper, and the story unfolds. Beneath the rolling surf, a kingdom sleeps in light. Its walls are not stone, but living coral and shell. Currents weave slow patterns across arching towers. Every surface shimmers with soft blue glow. Fish dart like sparks between columns of glassy kelp. The palace breathes as if alive, pulsing with tide. No door stands closed, only pathways of water. Visitors drift in on the back of gentle currents. They pass through halls of whispering anemones. Shell floors echo with distant whale songs. This is Poseidon's palace, heart of the deep. It rises where sunlight fades, but life still blooms. He walks its passages without stirring a wave. Each step a ripple of calm through the sea. Ceilings arch like waves frozen mid-curl. Pearl lanterns glow with light of tiny stars. Walls hold carvings of tides older than speech. They tell stories not of war, but of balance. A mural shows a dolphin guiding a lost boat. Another shows coral reclaiming a broken anchor. Every chamber hums with a single note of care. The trident rests near a throne shaped by currents. It glows faintly like moonlight under ice. This is no seat of power, but a resting place. Poseidon sits not as ruler, but as listener. He places his palm on the floor of shell. He feels vibrations from faraway storms. He senses migrations of creatures across ocean roads. He closes his eyes and hears every drop move. Outside, gardens bloom with living colors. Seagrass waves like soft green hands. Sponges rise like towers of quiet thought. Crabs trace delicate runes in the sand. Every plant and creature is part of the song. Here, harmony is not forced, but invited. No guard stands watch, only trust. Currents themselves guide those who enter. If your heart is restless, the halls feel long. If your heart is gentle, the way feels near. The palace shifts with moods of the sea. Sometimes wide and bright, sometimes narrow and dim. It mirrors the visitor's own tide inside. Poseidon walks with those who seek understanding. He shows them chambers where time slows to a drift. He shows them pools where light gathers like gold. In one pool, ancient turtles rest like stones. In another, tiny fish flicker like living constellations. He speaks rarely, letting silence teach. A gesture of his hand sends ripples of meaning. A nod of his head stirs currents of welcome. People who dream of the sea sometimes arrive here, not in body but in vision or story. They wake with salt on their lips and wonder. They cannot explain, but they remember calm. This palace is built of listening. Every arch an ear, every hall an echo. Even the smallest shell holds a history. Poseidon keeps them as a librarian keeps books, not locked away, but flowing for all who care. He repairs broken reefs with patience. He guides lost whales with soft vibrations. He turns debris into habitat for tiny creatures. His palace teaches by example, not command. You can almost feel it now as you listen. The hush of water moving through corridors. The faint ringing of coral touched by current. the soft brush of fish tails in passing. Your heartbeat slows to match the tide. You drift through the entrance hall of the deep. Ahead lies a chamber filled with shimmering light. It is the heart of the ocean's memory. Poseidon stands there waiting without urgency. His eyes reflect both distance and welcome. He gestures to the stories carved in walls. He invites you to read with your senses. No pen, no paper, only flowing symbols. This is the second part of his tale. A place of dwelling, not of dominion. A place where care becomes architecture. A palace that breathes, listens, and remembers. As you leave, the echo follows you upward. It carries a promise from the keeper of the deep. Return when the tide calls, and more will be shown. At dawn, the ocean stretches like a sheet of glass. Light spills down in columns through the water. Each beam touches drifting sand with gold. You descend slowly, following the rhythm of breath. Below, the tides shift like silent orchestras. This part of the deep is called the whispering current. It is where all waters meet before traveling on. Here, Poseidon listens to messages carried by flow. Every current holds a story from faraway shores. A gull's shadow over a northern bay becomes a ripple here. A seal's leap in ice waters becomes a swirl here. Nothing is lost, only transformed into movement. The keeper sits on a stone shaped by tide. He runs his fingers through the streaming water. Each thread speaks of weather, creatures, and dreams. He feels the pulse of a distant volcano. He senses the drift of plankton clouds. He knows where coral blooms and where it fades. This is his listening chamber beyond the palace. No walls, only flowing blue corridors. Schools of silverfish flash like living code. Tiny jellyfish drift like floating lanterns. Their slow pulses mark the tempo of the deep. Poseidon does not command, he deciphers. He translates motion into meaning. He waits for patterns to form like constellations. Sometimes the current brings laughter of children by a shore. Sometimes it brings silence of empty nets. He listens to both with equal care. He wonders at human hearts, changing like tides. He sends gentle nudges back through the flow. A sudden breeze to guide a small boat. A bright sparkle of fish to feed a village. He never forces, only invites. His trident glows softly beside him. Each point hums with a different current. One for the tides of moon and sun. One for the streams of life across the sea. One for the deep stillness beneath all movement. He touches the tips and closes his eyes. Waves echo his heartbeat far above. The whispering current carries secrets of time. Long before ships, it carried seeds of islands. Long before names, it carried songs of whales. Long before myths, it carried his own birth. He remembers rising from foam like dawn. Not to conquer, but to protect. Not to command, but to connect. His power is not weight, but depth. His gift is not force, but understanding. A turtle drifts past him, old as legend, its shell etched with lines of countless journeys. It circles once as if greeting an old friend. Poseidon smiles and strokes the water. The current brightens, scattering prisms of light. It feels like a conversation without words. You float nearby, a silent witness. You feel the messages brush against your skin. They are cool, warm, light, heavy all at once. They tell of rainforests, deserts, and mountain snow, all flowing here before returning outward. This is the heart of connection, invisible yet vast. Poseidon rises, the water swirling gently. He opens his hands and releases the flow. The currents split and travel to their paths, each ripple carrying care into the world. The keeper watches until the last eddy fades. He turns to you, eyes deep as the horizon. No words, only a sense of invitation. To listen as he listens. to read the language of moving water, to feel the unity beneath separation. This is the third part of his tale. A story of currents as messengers. A story of listening before speaking. A story still flowing through your own heartbeat. As you rise toward the surface, you carry echoes. The ocean hums inside you now. Poseidon waits below, still listening. The whispering current never ends. Follow it again, and it will guide you deeper. The ocean stretches outward like an endless mirror. Waves roll gently, carrying scents of distant lands. Above, seabirds circle like floating notes of music. Below, a different chorus hums through the water. This is the realm where messengers of the oceans travel. They are not humans, but beings of tide and current. They glide unseen, ferrying news to Poseidon's ear. Some are dolphins leaping like silver arrows. Some are tiny fish shimmering like falling stars. Some are currents themselves, swirling like ribbons. Each carries a story from a corner of the sea, a lost ship's whisper of gratitude. A newborn reef's song of bright growth, a whale's map of the stars etched in sound. All flow toward the keeper in patterns unseen. Poseidon waits where the waters cross like threads. His palace behind him, the open deep before. He extends his hand and feels the arrivals. A dolphin swims near, eyes bright with message. It circles once, twice, then pauses. Poseidon listens not with ears, but with tide. The water quivers with shapes of meaning. A pod of whales has changed its path. A coral field blooms where none had bloomed before. A storm has shifted sands to reveal a cave. Each piece a fragment of a living mosaic. He gathers them as one gathers scattered shells. He does not hoard, but weaves them into harmony. Nearby, schools of fish form living symbols. They twist into spirals like ancient letters, then scatter again like sparks of thought. The keeper nods, sending calm through the water. No words pass, only waves of understanding. This is how the ocean speaks without tongues. It sends out messengers instead of letters. It uses currents instead of roads. Its language is movement, color, and rhythm. Poseidon has mastered its grammar of flow. He reads each shift as you read a page. He writes back with gentle changes in tide. A swirl of warm water to guide a creature. A cool current to calm a restless bay. He acts without claim or credit. His reward is balance, his duty endless. You drift nearby, hearing echoes of these exchanges. They brush your thoughts like feathers of sound. You sense gratitude, caution, hope all mingling. It feels like listening to a chorus of oceans. Not one sea, but all seas joined as one. You see a ray glide past, wings wide as sails. On its back, patterns glow like runes. They shift slowly, telling a story of distant tides. Poseidon touches the water, and the runes brighten. The ray dips low and vanishes into the blue. Another message carried away, another balance held. He does this endlessly, yet never wearies. Because he does not fight but listens. Because he does not command but cares. His trident floats beside him like a tuning fork. It hums with three harmonies of the sea. One high, one low, one deep and steady. He touches it lightly, and the sound spreads. Currents adjust, creatures find their paths. This is the quiet power of the keeper. A power of connection, not control. A power of guidance, not force. As you watch, you feel your heartbeat match the sea. You too are a messenger without knowing it. Your breath returns to the ocean as mist. Your footsteps echo on shores far away. Every act part of a greater cycle. Poseidon lifts his gaze and meets yours. His eyes hold depth and invitation. He does not speak, but you understand. The ocean is speaking through you as well. This is the fourth part of his tale, a chapter of movement, of signals and signs, a chapter of listening beyond language, a chapter still flowing in every tide today. As you drift upward, the hum remains inside you. You carry a fragment of the keeper's quiet art. Return when the currents call, and more will be revealed. Morning light filters down like liquid gold. Shallow reefs glow with colors unseen at the surface. Here life bursts quietly in endless variety. Corals branch like slow-growing forests of stone. Tiny fish flicker like sparks among their shadows. Crabs trace secret paths along sandy floors. Seagrass bends in slow rhythm with the tide. This is Poseidon's garden of beginnings. He walks not but flows, presence within each current. No throne needed here, only listening and care. Every coral head holds a memory of growth. Every ripple tells a story of arrival. Larvae drift like seeds on a hidden wind. Poseidon watches as they land and root. He sends a gentle current to shelter them, a soft upwelling of nutrients like rain. He knows that from small lives come great webs. This garden is not decoration, but foundation. It feeds the open sea, the deep hunters, the skybirds. It is cradle and library of the ocean's youth. In silence, you drift above a coral city. Spirals, ridges, caves like streets and towers. No human builder could plan such symmetry. It grows from patience, from water's own mind. Poseidon senses a change in the water, a new warmth, subtle but real. Some corals pale, some fish move away. Balance trembles as a string pulled too tight. He lifts his trident, not as weapon, but instrument. A low tone hums through the reef, like a bell. Currents shift, cool streams weave through hot ones. Shadows deepen, giving refuge to shy creatures. The garden sighs, tension easing. Still, Poseidon does not command, only guide. He cannot halt change, but he can soften its edge. This is his way, adapting, weaving, steadying. He traces a spiral in the sand with his hand. It glows briefly, then fades into flow. A signal sent outward, unseen by eyes. It calls wandering fish back to safe channels. It tells drifting larvae where to land. It hums reassurance through the water's skin. You feel it brush against your own heartbeat. The reef brightens in slow pulses like breathing. Colors deepen, fish return, crabs resume their walks. Not a miracle, but a conversation continued. The ocean replies with new life in its hands. Poseidon smiles without moving his lips. This smile is a current of quiet hope. He knows the garden will change again. He knows nothing stays fixed under the tides. But each act of care leaves a seed. Each seed grows in ways unseen until needed. A turtle glides past, shell etched with maps. It pauses as if greeting an old friend. Poseidon brushes its back, sending a soft ripple. The turtle dips and swims toward open water. Another messenger carrying the reef song outward. You drift with it, feeling the garden recede. Its colors linger in your eyes like dawn. Its hum lingers in your bones like a drum. This is the fifth part of the Keeper's Tale. A chapter of nurturing, of patience and flow. A chapter where even gods tend gardens. A chapter that asks for listening, not taking. You rise slowly, but the vision remains. The reef still glows behind your closed eyes. Its patterns whisper promises of renewal, and the keeper's voice moves quietly through them all. Return again when the current shifts, and more will be shared. The sea darkens as you drift into deeper blue. Light fades into soft ribbons that vanish below. Silence thickens, yet the water hums with life. Here, the open ocean becomes a living highway. Creatures move unseen like whispers in a hall. Schools of silverfish flash like quicksilver thoughts. Jellyfish glow like lanterns carried by the tide. Sharks pass at a distance, shadows of old myths. Yet there is no fear, only balance and watch. This is the mid-water, realm of migration and mystery. Poseidon moves with ease, his outline a shimmer. He is not a king here, but a guide. His trident hums softly, tuning to deeper notes. Currents slide past like braided rivers of glass. They carry nutrients from surface to dark. They carry songs of whales and scents of ice. Poseidon listens to them as one listens to wind. He can tell a season by a single eddy. He can feel a story in a drifting shell. A turtle swims by, old as 100 storms. It nods at him, then at you. Another message, another crossing of paths. Below, a faint glow spreads like dawn reversed. It comes from vents on the ocean floor. Hot streams rise, mixing with cold, dark water. Strange creatures gather where heat meets chill. They are blind, but their bodies shine softly. White crabs, long worms, tiny glowing shrimp. This is a city without sunlight, yet full of life. Poseidon slows, extending his hands outward. He feels the pulse of the vents, the birth of new ground, the earth itself shaping the seabed below. He senses a tremor, not danger, but change. New minerals rising, new homes forming. Life will bloom here, as it has for eons. He does not interfere, only observes. Yet his presence steadies the flows. Currents adjust, toxins disperse gently. He hums a tone so low you feel it in your ribs. It spreads through the vents like a lullaby. Creatures pause, then resume their feeding. Balance restored for now. You watch a ribbon of plankton drift upward. It sparkles, carrying energy to waiting mouths. Above, whales sing in lines that echo through miles. Their notes curve around you like walls of a cathedral. Poseidon closes his eyes, hearing their travel. He sends a cool current to guide them. Not command, just a whisper of direction. You sense the enormity of the network. Every current a road, every creature a passenger, every signal part of a vast choreography. Poseidon stands at the center, but not as ruler. He is a listener, a weaver of movement. Even his power bends to the ocean's will. His trident vibrates with 3 low tones. One marks depth, one marks flow, one marks time. He holds it lightly, never as a weapon. It is an instrument, a staff of resonance. You drift closer, feeling the notes in your bones. For a moment you sense how he feels. Endless patience, endless motion, endless care. You look into the dark and it looks back kindly, not empty but full of hidden journeys. A ray glides past, wings like silk. It carries a glimmer on its skin like a message. Poseidon brushes the water and the glimmer fades. The ray dips and vanishes into shadow. Another story sent onward, another cycle complete. You rise slowly from the deep. Your heartbeat keeps the rhythm of the trident's hum. This is the 6th part of the Keeper's Tale. A chapter of depth, of hidden cities and flowing roads. A chapter where life blooms without sun. A chapter where guidance comes as quiet song. As you ascend, you feel the ocean's voice inside you. It tells you the journey is far from over. And the keeper waits where currents cross again. The horizon softens as dawn spreads over the sea. A pale glow rises like a whispered promise. Waves hush, waiting for the first touch of light. You float near the surface, tasting salt and sky. This is the border where ocean meets air, where birds dip and fish leap in silver arcs. Poseidon appears as a shimmer in the swell. He stands between worlds without boundary or crown. No throne, only the endless moving line. This morning, he listens to the songs above. Gulls cry like bells, their echoes weaving patterns. Wind runs fingers across the water's skin. Clouds drift like sails of forgotten ships. Each carries moisture from distant rains. Each holds a memory of mountain streams. Poseidon raises his trident gently, not to rule. It hums with the rhythm of tides and breeze. Air and water merge in a single note. He feels the shift of seasons in the current. Warmth rising, coolness sinking, a slow turning wheel. Migrating creatures cross beneath your feet unseen. Schools of fish gather where upwellings bloom. Plankton drift upward like tiny suns. The ocean breathes out mist to feed the clouds. The clouds breathe rain to feed the sea. A cycle without edges, only flow. Poseidon moves through it like a conductor. He sends a soft pulse into the air. Seabirds bank and change their path with ease. No command, only guidance through resonance. You feel the pulse brush your face like wind. It carries scents of coral and pine, frost and sand. The sea is more than water. It is memory moving. It holds voices of rivers, tears, and storms. Poseidon knows each by tone, by touch, by weight. He shapes nothing but helps each thread find its weave. A dolphin leaps near, breaking the surface. Spray catches sunlight like a scatter of stars. It chirps once, then vanishes below. A message delivered, a circle complete. Above, a line of pelicans glides low. Their wings almost kiss the water's face. They ride an invisible road of rising air. Poseidon smiles faintly, eyes deep as tide pools. He senses balance in the dance of elements. He senses fragility too, like glass under pressure. A gust shifts, a current bends, and all must adjust. This is his art. Gentle corrections, never force. He hums a tone that climbs like morning light. It threads through clouds and down into water. Creatures respond, shifting paths like dancers. Currents align, turbulence softens. You watch a shimmer of light rise from the sea. It spreads across the horizon like a veil. For a heartbeat, you feel sky and ocean merge. No up, no down, only a single living body. Your breath slows, matching the tide. Poseidon lowers his trident and the hum fades. The world settles into quiet balance. He glances at you, a spark in his gaze. A silent reminder that you too are part of this weave. Every breath you take joins the wind. Every drop you drink once swam with whales. The boundary is illusion, the cycle is truth. This is the seventh part of the Keeper's tale, a chapter of borders that do not hold, a chapter of air meeting sea, of sky tasting salt, a chapter where guidance rises like dawn. You drift on, carrying the hum in your chest. The day brightens, but the story flows deeper still. And the Keeper waits, where next the worlds entwine. Night falls like a velvet curtain across the sea. Stars appear above, mirrored by sparks below. Bioluminescence wakes with the dark like hidden fire. Every wave breaks with a ghostly blue glow. You drift, suspended between two skies. Above, constellations. Below, constellations of life. This is the realm where time feels weightless, where past and present mingle like currents. Poseidon glides through the dark like a slow comet. His trident hums softly, a lantern without flame. He carries no light but makes the dark shine. Creatures rise from depths to feed in the night. Plankton gather like floating dust of stars. Squid dart upward, their bodies flashing code. Whales roll beneath, singing to unseen kin. The ocean at night is a moving constellation. Poseidon listens to the many quiet hearts. Each beat a story, each glow a line of text. He moves among them without ripple or wake. The sea knows him as stillness within motion. He reaches out, touching a stream of light. It trails across his hand like silk. A school of tiny fish spins around you. They form a spiral, then a doorway shape. Through it drifts a manta like a slow starship. Its wings scatter pale light like paper lanterns. Poseidon bows his head slightly as it passes. another messenger of the nocturnal tide. You sense messages flowing unseen between them. No words, only patterns of light and movement. A silent conversation older than speech. Poseidon adds a note of his own. A low vibration pulses outward, unseen but felt. The spiral of fish shifts, widening gently. Currents soften, paths open, balance restored. Above, a meteor streaks across the sky. Its reflection ripples in the glowing water. For a heartbeat, sea and stars move as one. You inhale salt air that tastes like night. Poseidon looks up and then back at you. His eyes catch starlight, deep and calm. He knows that even darkness holds growth. He knows the ocean's night is full of work. Creatures feed, travel, court, and send signals. Energy rises, descends, and rises again. This too is part of the great weaving. He does not rush it, only guides the rhythm. A jelly drifts by, glowing faintly green. Inside its bell pulses a tiny heartbeat. Poseidon cups water around it like a cradle, then lets it drift on, untroubled. He does not claim what passes through his hands. He only ensures it finds its path. You feel the lesson pass through you like a tide. Even in darkness, movement can be gentle. Even in silence, messages can travel far. The sea at night is a library without shelves. Poseidon is its keeper, but not its owner. He walks its aisles of current and glow. He hums, and the glows shift in answer. Not magic, not command, but resonance. A partnership between force and flow. As you watch, your pulse slows to match. The glow seeps into your skin like soft fire. You sense stories flickering under your ribs. The dark feels less like absence, more like a room, a place of quiet work and subtle songs. This is the 8th part of the Keeper's Tale. A chapter of stars above and below. A chapter of night currents and silent speech. A chapter where even darkness carries care. You rise slowly, the glow fading, but not gone. It lingers in your mind like a remembered melody, and the Keeper's voice hums quietly within it. Morning light folds over the sea like soft silk. Tides retreat gently, leaving ripples of silver foam. You stand on a hidden shoal where sand meets current. The horizon stretches, a thin line between worlds. Poseidon rises near, calm as a tide pool at dawn. He carries no crown, only a circle of spray. This is the hour of currents, changing paths. When warm streams meet cool ones in quiet negotiation. Beneath, a network of invisible rivers flows. They carry nutrients, heat, and whispered messages. Poseidon traces them with a hand of water. Each stream hums a different tone. Together, they form a vast undersea choir. You hear it faintly, like a song under your breath. Not words, but directions and agreements. Sharks glide past, slow and unhurried. Turtles ride the edge of a moving ribbon. All life here depends on the unseen highways. Poseidon feels a slight imbalance to the east. A current has drifted from its usual arc. He does not force it back. He listens, then shapes a gentle pressure. Water curls around his trident and flows outward. The stray stream bends, joining its pattern again. You feel the shift under your feet, like a sigh. Balance restored. No struggle, only redirection. Poseidon turns to you, eyes reflecting sky. He teaches by doing, not by speech. Every gesture a quiet principle, every movement a reminder of patience. Above, seabirds spiral in the widening circles. They follow schools drawn by the new flow. Below, coral blooms where nutrients return. Tiny polyps extend, tasting the improved water. Life responds quickly to gentle guidance. Poseidon kneels, placing a palm on the sea. His fingers spread like river deltas. He feels the pulse of distant storms. Not yet here, but sending signals ahead. The ocean prepares for what the sky will bring. a dance of anticipation and readiness. You sense how vast his awareness is. Not control, but connection without walls. He invites you to kneel beside him. The water warms under your touch. Images flicker across the surface. Mountains feeding rivers, feeding deltas, feeding tides. Whales migrating, birds nesting, clouds forming. A chain of exchanges with no clear start or end. This is what he keeps. Not treasures, but cycles. He keeps them by tending, not owning. By knowing, not dominating. You breathe deeply, the salt air full of meaning. It tastes like rain before it falls. Poseidon rises, droplets falling from his hair like beads. They catch light, tiny rainbows on his shoulders. He smiles, a slow curve like a new wave. Around you the sea glows with quiet life. A pod of dolphins arcs in unison. Their clicks echo like bells in a vast hall. They too sense the restored paths. They too travel along invisible roads. Poseidon lifts his trident slightly, signaling thanks. Not command, only gratitude in motion. The dolphins answer with a leap and vanish. You feel the echo of their joy in your chest. The ocean hums lower now, like a lullaby. Balance holds, even as winds shift above. This is the 9th part of the Keeper's Tale. A chapter of currents and the patience to guide. A chapter of rivers within oceans, unseen but vital. A chapter where tending replaces ruling. You step back, water lapping at your knees. The horizon shimmers, promising the story will deepen, and the keeper stands ready for what comes next. Evening settles with a golden hush over the ocean. The horizon glows as if lit from within. You drift near a chain of hidden isles. Their outlines blur like ink on wet paper. This is the hour when the sea exhales heat. Warm air rises, drawing breezes from afar. Poseidon moves through the shallows, silent and sure. No waves break around him, only ripples. He gestures toward the islands like a host. You sense stories stored in their black rocks. Volcanoes birthed them, currents shaped them, birds seeded them. Now mangroves anchor them, roots weaving into sand. Crabs scuttle like scribes across the shore. The tide licks at stones polished by centuries. Poseidon kneels and presses his palm to the ground. The island hums back, deep and slow, a rhythm older than tides alone. He listens to the heartbeat of land meeting sea. This is a boundary where cycles merge. Fresh water trickles down hidden springs. It carries minerals to the waiting reef. Reef fish dart in stripes of living color. They form shifting tapestries beneath your feet. Poseidon smiles faintly at their quiet industry. No command, only the pull of balance. Above, swifts dart after invisible insects. Their cries echo like silver bells. Clouds gather high, building towers of white. Rain will come, but not yet. The island and sea prepare for the exchange, each element leaning toward the other. You feel the conversation in the air. It vibrates through stone, salt, and skin. Poseidon traces a spiral on the sand. It fills with water, then clears to glass. Images rise. Forests feeding rivers, rivers feeding bays. Rain cycling into mist, mist falling as rain. No ownership, only returning. He draws another shape, a circle. Inside it glows a pulse of soft light. He lets it fade and looks at you. His eyes say what words cannot. You are part of this circle too. Every footprint leaves a pattern, every action a tide. The island wind shifts, carrying scents of flowers. Night-blooming petals open in anticipation. Moths arrive, silent messengers of dusk. Their wings catch twilight like velvet fans. A turtle surfaces nearby, breathing softly. It lingers, then slips beneath the reef again. All these motions speak without noise. Poseidon rises, brushing sand from his hands. Droplets cling like tiny pearls. He steps into the shallows and the water parts. No magic, only harmony. You follow, your feet sinking into cool sand. The sea feels different here, more intimate. Less expanse, more heartbeat. Poseidon raises his trident and lets it rest. It stands like a mast in the fading light. He closes his eyes and hums a tone. It flows into the ground, into the reef, into the sky. Birds hush, crabs pause, waves slow. The island and sea align in a moment of stillness. You feel it pass through you like a quiet chord. It tells of cooperation, of patience, of care. The moment breaks softly like foam on a rock. Waves resume, birds cry, the breeze returns. Poseidon opens his eyes and lowers his hand. He does not speak, but you understand. This is the 10th part of the Keeper's tale. A chapter of islands and oceans breathing together. A chapter of circles drawn in sand and salt. A chapter where land and sea teach each other. You watch the horizon darken with new stars. The tide rises again, ready for the next story. And the Keeper waits at the edge of the shifting light. Dawn rises one last time across the endless sea. Light spills over the waves like liquid glass. You stand at the edge of a quiet cove. The tide sways slowly, as if savoring each breath. This is where stories return to the water, where echoes drift back into the deep. Poseidon emerges, not as a king, but as a friend. Salt glitters on his skin like morning frost. His trident rests beside him, silent and still. He smiles as if the horizon itself has spoken. All journeys begin and end at the shore. All currents flow out and back again. He gestures to the ocean behind him. You see paths of light threading through the water. They stretch outward like veins of a living heart. Every pulse a life, a story, a memory. Poseidon does not hold them, only honors them. He turns to you with eyes deep as calm harbors. You sense gratitude like a tide washing over stone. The sea has shown you its hidden rooms. It has whispered of balance and patient care. Now it invites you to carry its hum inland, to walk with its rhythm even on dry earth. Poseidon places his hand over your heart. For a moment you feel currents move inside you. Salt and air, past and present, weaving together. He steps back, letting the touch become memory. Above, seabirds circle in widening arcs. Their calls rise like morning bells. The wind carries the scent of open water. It tastes like endings and beginnings at once. Poseidon raises his trident one final time, not to command, but to bless the passage. A low hum drifts outward across the bay. Waves respond with a gentle lift. Creatures below turn in slow spirals. The whole sea seems to bow and breathe. He lowers the trident and the hum fades. Silence arrives, not empty but full of peace. You realize the Keeper's role is not to rule. It is to remind each element of its song, and to teach those who listen to listen deeper. You are now one of those listeners, a witness to cycles, a bearer of whispers. The water around your ankles warms like sunlight. Tiny ripples trace patterns at your feet. They look like script in a language older than time. A breeze stirs, brushing your face like a hand. It carries Poseidon's final message without words. Take what you have felt and tend where you walk. Even a small stream can hold an ocean's care. Even a single breath can echo the tide. You bow your head as the sea draws back. Poseidon watches, then turns toward the horizon. His shape dissolves into light and spray. Only the hum remains, soft and steady. It settles into the cove like a heartbeat. Above, clouds drift apart, revealing a wide sky. Below, the water clears to a mirror. Your reflection looks back with salt on its lips. It carries the ocean's story now. You step from the cove, the sand cool and firm. Each footprint fills with clear water before fading. Behind you, the tide smooths every mark. Ahead lies land, green and waiting. The keeper's tail follows like a gentle undertow, not holding you, only guiding you forward. This is the ending of the keeper's story. A chapter of return, of passing the torch. A chapter where the sea and sky bow to each other. A chapter where you become part of the weave. The horizon brightens, wide and open. The ocean sings low, steady, endless. You walk on, carrying its song inside you. And somewhere beneath the surface, Poseidon listens still.